All right, welcome. This is Dynasty the Podcast Show. I am your host, Ira Bush. Today's Friday. This is episode 55. I just want to say I appreciate everybody tuning in. This is an honor to be able to speak in the public forum, and I just want to say shout out to my child, Anaya Bush, and my mother and my grandparents. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Every day we get better. Every day we got to hold that cap up as represent your family to the best of my ability. So shout out to them. First and foremost, it's Friday, man. It's gonna be a good weekend. I don't have too much going on. The school is gonna be back in for the students in a month. Hopefully, I'm hoping I get a real good position at the school that I applied to coach at. For football. I did one school, so I don't want to go to try to go everywhere and look for just hopefully I get in, but I want to go somewhere because I know about this school a little bit just from being in the area. I know that it touches 5-year-olds all the way to 18-year-olds. It's an old school type of school, how the school used to be, the whole community. It's like a community school for K through 12, and it's a charter school. So I'm hoping I get in because I really want to establish something while my child these next 3 to 5 years. I want to be somewhere stable. I want to be somewhere in the community. Not that she has to go here. I just wanted to be represent her properly and be in position to respond in the greatest way, just in case anything comes to fruition that I do not, that I have to make sure I'm in order. So I'm hoping I get that position as a coach, and then hopefully finish up my classes, substitute, get a position, whatever make a come by. That's the next thing. I don't really like school, but what motivates me to be a student is being able to do what I actually love to do, which is coach. So being in a nice rank position, either a coordinator, it'll help because I've already been a junior varsity head coach several times. I'm about to be operating as a head coach with the little league team that I've been getting. So everything's already still in the position that I've been acquired since I started. So it ain't too much that separates from a junior varsity head coach and a head coach on a little league football organization. You're still developing to get to the highest prep, which is high school, and then second highest because high school, college is prep, but they're paying people now. So I just seen something about them, the NILs money deals are getting, a little extreme. And some colleges can't compete. They're losing recruits. And, it's that's a stupid thing to complain about. They just started NIL. So, if you don't get a recruit because of money, that means their heart is into the money, not into the game. So you have to have the ability to coach a player that is not advanced as those players that get that money, and have that player that is able to listen and grow into your program. And then that hopefully, depending on their level and ability, by their third or fourth year, they're going to be a high level contributor in the prep round, and then make sure those students, student athletes are the ones that are leading in the classroom, with at least a 3.0 or 3.2. It was once you get to college, you got to compete because you want to still be able to provide for your family and get a decent job or a career choice that you pick. And you have to be, being that you're already in the public eye as a football player, you want to excel while you're in college. If you're not starting on the field and you're not bringing in that revenue and your face is not all over ESPN on the highlight reel. So, that's what separates. That's how it gets tough. You have to be mentally strong when you get to that level and have understanding that your time might not be as soon as you think. You've been a 3-year starter in high school, 2 or 3 year starter in high school, and you don't go and you go to college and everybody's on your level. And you might not have been taking the playbook seriously, the terminology of football or basketball or any sport that you decided to pick to go to the highest level of prep. And you have to organize your mental to be able to withstand that, to make sure you're disciplined enough to gain that knowledge, gain that discipline of a student athlete. And you got to excel in both, and you got to be able to understand that playbook, understand your assignment first, and then make sure it blends in with the team plans. And sometimes people when you get to college, kids got to realize this, that you go into a program where the head coach might not have not even the same type of IQ is, or have simplified the football IQ, or mostly football, because football you have to literally draw up plays on both sides of the ball. You got to kind of have that chess mindset. You have to prepare for, it's the only time you have the only, unless you're really high level as a coach and you have like now they have those iPads on the sideline in college and in the NFL. But I think they tried to do it in high school, but a lot of coaches took advantage, cheating, and it was weird because the stands is this close. You might have an op parent over here as a coach. They've been doing too much of that, because the stands is way different in college. I know it probably going to college depending on where level you at, what school you at, because the stand still could be super close, but it could be 100,000 and it's still yelling, and it's a whole different atmosphere than high school. But you get to these levels where I've seen it all, like just watching from a distance, like this is what when I was like, I won't say my prime. My prime is now as a coach, clearly, because my patience is way different. My patience level when I was 18, 19, 20 to now is crazy. I know, and I was still at the I still had a lot of authority on my I know what kind of authority I had as a head coach on the junior varsity. I was able to talk to parents firsthand. I was there, but even though the coach that brought me in, he did a lot of, he just went behind me, made sure I was doing everything correct. And, no, it's not unnormal for just to make sure we're just trying to prep him to be the best coach he possibly be. He might have been making jokes about it and whatnot, but it's not a big deal to me. It wasn't a big deal to me because everything came back to me. It wasn't like I wasn't unknown of it. So being cracked on, or being the youngest in the room is not, I'm not the youngest no more. So that's not an excuse for me to not get the position or not to get elevated into a coordinator position, which is what I would like to be when I be on these programs. Because I don't have my degree yet. I'm still taking classes here and there, but that's it. I'm more of, I just want to coach. I don't mind being a head coach. The crazy thing is I don't even think in some states I have to have a degree to be a head coach in high school. But when in Florida, you have to have your degree. So that's the biggest thing I have to pay attention to. Like, it's like the rules are not the same. So I must start expanding more, and I definitely had to make sure everything lined up properly when I'm gonna do my, like I could be here 3 to 5 years. I could have a better position in another state next year. So, I sent my resume out last year, but like I said, I got a whole bunch of other issues tying me to my state. And, I sent it out, but somebody hacked the email that I used. I probably got an email response in the springtime, or I could have redid it from that email, but it looks very weird that I'm doing it from different emails, and you know how that goes. It's just like, I'll just redo. I just do one last stint in Florida, whether it's definitely going to do the 3-year certificate here, but I already did a 5-year certificate right out the gate. So, and then I went I went private for another 2 years. So, and then I helped 2 prep schools. Then you already know, I told this already. It's been like, I did like 10 years straight going in, like from whole 9 yards. So, and then COVID happened. I helped basketball and all that stuff, and did some softball. Just expanded my horizon of a coach, but it was a part of my plan to begin with. When I first started coaching, it was part of the plan to make sure I help multiple communities make sure my face and my brand is stamped wherever I go. I don't want no halfway done. I never did no half stepping when I was on the practice field or on game day. I never short end the stick of none of my children. I never missed practice. I don't even think I was late to practice most times. Like, I might walk right in on when I got older, walk right in at 3:30 sometimes, but never was late. And everybody knew my routine was my pre-practice routine was very, very. I had the best unit every year I coached, except my first year, and then my first year was still neck and neck with the wide receiver core that I had over there for still. That was very. We had some super athletes. So, but it wasn't as disciplined as I had a young group of O-line, D-line group. But that second year, I still had the same two young guys that was, super athletes. But my D lineman was already there. And he was young. He was only, I think, probably 10th, 11th grade my second year. So, and then I had a couple more, this junior varsity. I had some guys that was, outside, inside, the positions that they played. I had to train them a lot of stuff, just speaking them about hand positioning, get all that stuff. They got a lot of training, just pre-practice type stuff. So this is real life, like and they was all with me on my, most of them was with me on the junior varsity team for their first year. So I did not short side nobody when it came, especially. And then when I moved up, it was the same type of thing. Even though some of these kids were already advanced in training, they'll lack the little nuances of not full speed in your drill, standing up before you get across that line. Like, those are the little stuff that you get when you go to an elite team, and then that shows on Fridays. When you start out slow, when you don't finish the game strong, all that stuff shows up on the game. Now, I didn't sugarcoat my tongue when it came to these people messing up in drills, taking their rep series when they're doing scout. All this stuff I took pride in, because like I don't see how that is. I can't be shunned because I take those moments serious. Like, those moments are some of the most important moments. You need people that's ready to go in if a player needs a breather, a player gets the wind knocked out of them, whatever it may be. So yeah, that's how I pretty much feel about that. Now, no, I ain't gonna say. I think I don't really. Today I've been telling y'all this week. I'm really not. I got way other stuff. I've been had way other stuff, but this is way deeper than you think. But I'm gonna continue to do what I'm supposed to do, as far as this show, and I don't have no reason not to do my show every day. Y'all ain't stopping nothing. I'm still wake up. I don't even want to brag about it because of the stuff that be going on, but I want my people, people that have been around me to be protected and be in this strongest positions that they possibly could be. I don't want nothing that really happen to them because of me speaking about the government that's ass, that don't know what the fuck they doing. Excuse my own French or my profane words. I ain't going at nobody when I say the F word. It's the F word. Look it up in the dictionary. It's not hurting nobody. I didn't say anything towards nobody when I said it. This is not a children's podcast. Even though it's going to be so much educational stuff that you could show your child, you don't have to play the whole clip with me saying the F word. I'm sorry. 1.5 seconds out of a 40-minute to hour video. Sorry. And yeah. So yeah, hopefully I get a good position. I'm really hyped about football season. I really don't want to get too involved in the NFL. It's still corrupt. I talk about that all the time. It's a very corrupt place. College can be very corrupt as well, but you got to figure out what you want to do. And I choose still to be on the field. I know how important it is to train young men, and especially young men that's come from the same background, same DNA type structure that I have, face, brown and black faced, and that I have to make sure I'm educating in the lane that I picked in the beginning. I'm not switching on my lane that I picked. So, I'm probably, like I said, they stopped the whole world for people like me. Like, just they literally stopped. I was like on some old business type mindset during that time frame. I wasn't even stressing. I allowed one person to get to, a little too in my game room, and they went and completely against. There was a couple people, like I talk about all the time. It was more. It wasn't a lot. The people that would like call themselves befriending me and still want to act like they not my friend. They used to be in my face all the time. I don't get that type of energy either. But befriending me is like I take it serious. So I'm very funny how I treat people like that. I really will still speak to you. I really have the same type of spirit towards you. But it ain't my fault that you don't like me or you heard something or you did voodoo on me or you tried to go against my family to make me mad or I don't know what kind of energy people was on, but that was immature energy when they was younger. Hopefully people could get over it, come find a way to reach out. I could talk about some real stuff. People did a lot of stuff to me. I could blame the government. I could blame you being a government bot, whatever you calling them now. Whatever it may be, y'all still work for these people. Like, I don't work for them, or let's say it was just a person that was random who did it, but I don't work for them. I have to live in America. I have a hierarchy position just being alive in this country. I can tell you that much. So yeah, and I didn't fall short. I'm still on it. I'm still at that. I'm just still on that type of I'm on that type of play that I've been on. So, hopefully everything monetarily comes to fruition for me. I'm really not stressing that. It's a debt note. We still owe people in this world. That's I speak about this all the time. We still trying to make stupid fucking deals on a consistent basis. We out here fighting other people's wars, trying to pay bills. I don't know what kind of energy that is. I'm not into that. So I'm just getting the information like y'all. Now let's move on. There was some stuff going on, I'm gonna pull up these videos. Like I said, we have people that's in order. It's that's in. We have people that are. I'm gonna just describe it real quick. Then I'm gonna let y'all kind of listen to it. Okay. All right. We got stuff that's happening in Florida, and we have stuff that is happening around in our whole as a country. Now, let's start with the state of Florida. Now, there has been there has been, there was a alligator Alcatraz, that was a little story that they ran when, the president of the United States and our governor, they decided to go and do a photo op and to promote that they're opening up a immigration detention center, aka a detention prison for immigrants. And I'm like, are they, I don't see the picking up immigrants in Florida like they talk about in California. You know what I'm saying? I don't see them attacking the immigrants. Here in Florida, there's actually a very organized situation going on when it comes to people having a chance to work. But it's also helping people who like me. I don't mind being a part-time construction worker and coaching and doing iron jobs. My main job is coach. I don't claim being a construction. I could. I have a ton of experience. It's in my DNA to do all these things. This is easy to me to use a power tool and a hammer and to measure things out and to put grass on the field, like whatever that is. I've done all these types of jobs since I've been of age. So I don't. It's not like I don't know how to do these things. Now, let's continue. I don't want to claim those jobs if I don't have to claim that job. I would like for y'all to separate me as this person, and then stop playing around like we really have super. The only reason why we have confusion is because the people like Ron DeSantis, our governor, and our senators don't really check until they don't do their job properly. They all want to jump on one side. You're a senator, he's a governor. Your job is to use your influence to make sure he's doing his job correctly, but you are hiding. Then we got these people, these prejudiced people on these councils, these doing these council meetings. It was broad daylight calling people terrorists, saying that your flag is terrorist group, and all this hates information. All you got to do as a person that is over the council or head council person. This is happening in Florida. We have these white supremacist Ku Klux Klan members in these council meeting boards in towns and cities that I spoke on this. I wanted them to show their face. Now, and we, the person that's over the country is okay with these people having these positions because he's built the same way. He's the same type of bread. He does not have the balls to tell these people that this is improper, or he doesn't have the balls to tell them, or he's agreeing with them. So it's okay. Like, this lady is actually in Congress. She might not be in our state, but she's in Congress. So, like, people voted her in the state. Like, that means United States is a combination of all types of countries in one. So your white supremacist Europeanism mindset, or Ku Klux Klan member, what they call it, wild right, or whatever this stupid name they want to give themselves, the good old boys, whatever name they giving themselves at the time. I'm calling you a Ku Klux Klan member. That's what you look like. That's what you smell like. That's what you eat like. You're a Ku Klux Klan member. So I look at it like that. Now, no, not to dwell on it. Just make sure the person that's supposed to check the senator and the governors are not just sitting here with dickhead activity because they hang together, they play golf together, or whatever stupid shit they think is important to nobody but them. So I get a little agitated talking about them. I don't really like talking about them. So let me let you listen to some of these stuff that they've been talking about. I don't want to talk about that. Well, to switch it up, okay. The other day, on Jimmy Kimmel Live, Stacey Abrams talks about Trump and the situation she has in her state of Georgia. I think she was running for governor. She didn't win, but she's still on. She still plays a major role in the political world in Georgia. Now, the person giving the interview was not Jimmy Kimmel. It was Anthony Anderson, a famous actor. These are people. He's also a comedian. There's a very thin line between politics and the comedic world. So they have a lot of followings when they talk. They make jokes and serious situation into jokes. And he's an actor as well as a comedian, stand-up comedian. He has stand-up comedian ties as a writer and all that. So you see he's hosting the show for Jimmy Kimmel. They've been around a long time over there in California. So I'm gonna let y'all listen to a little bit of this interview. And I don't want to really I said what I had to say. Then I'm gonna play, like, I wanted to go stay in Georgia, so I just want to switch the gears a little bit. Then I'm gonna let you play something from Florida. There's a space, they talk about improving the space center, what's going on over there in Orlando. I really mentioned that already, so I'm gonna play that story. And then, no, I don't really want to. I spare what I had to say about the Alcatraz situation. They're investigating the Alcatraz. There's a lot of people it's a lot of attention on it. There's already people there getting held up as immigrants. I don't know where they got the immigrants from. Are they going to find them in Florida? I don't see that type of energy. And we got tons of people. I ain't calling them immigrants. I'm talking about they literally could get confused for an immigrant because the country that they sending them back to. These people are like, well, my people are getting picked up for working for having a store, being the owners of stores, and, like, what I'm saying, they looking at it like, this is a coward. This is a coward. These people were mad because they figure out a way to make a way in the United States of America without really the help, and then they figure out how to crack the code on getting finances from the state, because that's what they offer when you become an immigrant. They let these people come in, then they want to snatch the rug from under them and take away something, and then they're not doing a good job of properly dispersing it to people that are already United States citizens that are black and brown. So they actually doing double negatives. Double negative is not a positive for you; it's a positive probably for us, because you look stupid, you look goofy, you look immature, you look racist, you look whatever you want to name everything negative. Don't look negative at us. You the one attacking. So hey, we're gonna let it be. Let's play this first interview, and we're gonna move on to politics. I go on about politics, so I can say a lot. I be really spinning y'all, really. I'm about to get that. Mhm. Yeah. Right. All right. Mm. 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 Well, I'm gonna speak on that. I'm gonna continue to it's like 5 more minutes, but they probably gonna have a discussion. I did not hear her when she spoke about that when she did it in her own public forum. She went on a very national platform. First 5 minutes was not no jokes. This is not a joke. This is not a drill. This is not a like propaganda stance on, trying to win something. She already won. She already was in the limelight. She's not choosing that route anymore. She's going to choose to educate, and she's going to write her book, which she already put out there. This is what she's on the show for. So, it comes out on the 15th. I will be getting a copy of that, or I will be written it from the library to read. So that book, I think it was I know she's right. I know her name, so I'm gonna look it up. But she's I'm definitely gonna be paying attention to what she's saying. I try to I know she's already pretty popular and famous. She has other people sponsoring her that are famous. She's pretty protected. It's hard for her to see every little small person that's not in her at her realm. So, I respect people like her. I actually have ties to, not I don't have strong ties like, I might have people there in Georgia, but you know, that's not where my family base is. So I'm not gonna claim something that's absurd. I have a family member that really is very close to my family, that is very close to, as far as family. And I respect him. And that's all I can say. I try not to put people in the position where they gotta defend themselves for me talking. But it definitely is respect. And I know what honor and respect is that for my family tree, especially on my father, both sides of my family. So no, I'm not dissing her. I'm glad she's out able to speak in the public forum in the biggest realm in the biggest platform. It helps him in his line of duty. So yeah, I don't, you know, I'm happy she came and spoke like with so much honesty and integrity up there. So we have a lot of lack of that in this right now going on in politics. But hopefully she get out there. Which I think she would have been way better suit to. She probably didn't have the popularity in other countries. Definitely she definitely more popular than Kamala Harris in the United States of America. But it matters when you get certain funds and you get picked as a vice president and all that. She probably didn't cut corners. She probably didn't sleep with enough white men or something. Whatever may have went on, just she knew Kamala Harris is married to a white man, and that probably played a role in her position in the world. But it's America, man. We gotta fight. We're not trying to really fight. We're trying to understand and to not be left with nothing, which is what she just talked about. They're trying to do again, and it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't even be in that. It shouldn't even be communicated like that. It shouldn't even be a thought at this in this with all this technology and age of understanding and history, knowledge of history. So I don't know. I think I wish I really have an issue with is the people that the United States of America do not like. Don't forcefully tell people to leave. Like you don't got to pick them up. You know what you need to do? You need to go print some money out and go step by step. Here's $50,000. Move back. Here's your passport. We have your information on. Boom. Step by step, state by state. Just leave. Make them leave. Everybody who's not white supremacists, Ku Klux Klan, sold their soul out to you. Make them leave and put them in a good position when you make them leave. Don't be, aggressive and negative and nasty about it. You could print dollars all day. Just make them leave. You don't gotta give them too much. Make them leave. And you see when you get to the end of that, and just stop the rail for a day after you get rid of all the people you hate, and you hate because of color, and you hate because they didn't agree with you, and they didn't tap dance for you, and they didn't yes sir your dumb ass. See how that ends up being for you, and then check all your white women that done went and went gets you, and then a slime just snaked you out completely. All this stuff like this that that you done treated these people evilly, and you want to blame a color for it. You know what I'm talking about? So it definitely not stun you. We not stun you that hard, and just look at it. And then it could be flipped that you got so many dumb people in your cabinet, or not enough people in your cabinet, that you're not even understanding what the problem and the issue is. You're not even comprehending it. So no, that's all. Now let's continue. Mm, mm, mm. I ain't gonna play the whole. It's only 4 minutes, 3 minutes left, so 4 minutes left for that interview. But I basically have a. I don't know. I've been had the ability to talk politics, so I'm just happy that I've caught up to the definitely the now of what the understanding trajectory of what's going on is. There's not nothing that I'm not on beat with in the recent. So anybody come speak to me about politics, I'm gonna be willing to really inform you. I'm gonna tell you to check out my what I've been talking about. I already did a lot of research. I know what the main thing that you need to focus on in the community is definitely, especially if you have children, is your child. The next step, I talk about, resources. And I've worked my way. I'm already in the community that, I'm in the community already. So, my next step is I have someone that is really that is close that's been close to me since I've been 7, 8 years old. She's somebody this is like family. She is family. So hopefully I could come approach her. I don't want to ask her for a favor. I just want her to point me to the direction. If she can help me in that way, I wouldn't mind taking it. But I don't want to take that. She has children as well, and I'd be so happy to see her. I don't have time to ask for a favor or something. I just be happy to be around this person. So I'm gonna get my real business plan ready to approach her. Cause start communicating with her regularly. I have also a cousin, but they also got a lot of children. They also have real obligations. I hate to say it, talk like this, but I don't. None of them are low ranking people in the world. Especially in Florida. Especially in Florida, they have their own community. They're leaders of their communities already, just based off example of family and taking care of their children. They already done it, so they already doing it. They're at a high level with it. They're raised from what I'm raised from, and they just, they female. They, it's a little bit easier. They went to school, graduated. What I'm saying. They did the hard part, of checking that box off. As a man, it's different, but they also they found the right person, right people to grow with, what I'm saying? So I can't really accent because that's mixing with, I ain't hating on them. I don't want to be that hater, a family hater. And then the men in my family, they also have they have kids, children, and it's hard to like reach out to them if they're not on the same mindset as me. But I'm not dissing them on that or nothing. It just I have understanding of that too. So, And I be looking at it all kind of ways. I'm like, I wish it was more. No, I had a vision, but if I tell y'all my vision, y'all might still not be in tune with it as much. And then we all pretty much when I hit 12 years old, my core people that I knew was should have been my core people was definitely like dispersed. Everybody like dispersed. Like went that way, this way. And it was in Florida some most of the time, but it was definitely 3-4 hours away. And it was not, 2 to 4 hours away, sometimes 6 if you talk about where I gotta go for my father's side family reunion. And this, it's not like it's still a little spaced out. It wasn't like right around the corner. Now I was around my grandparents, so that was a plus. But still, I needed the backing of relatives, or helpful. Hopefully, they understood having a couple good group of people around them. And that's what I try to model it off of. And when I started coaching it got even deeper because I put more people around me that I didn't know who they were until I just from coaching them, and that's what they were looking at me as. How I go, and then over time, you got to see how it's gonna play out. I'm still in my 30s. I'm in my early 30s, so everything will work out. I hope, I'm hoping it will. Ain't nothing perfect in life, so it's definitely not going to be exactly how you envision. Because if you have a vision when you sleep, it's literally a 10-minute, 15-minute type of scenario, and then you wake up. So it's like, that's what it's funny about life. So nah, but yeah, let's. I'm not going to talk about the Alcatraz, alligator Alcatraz situation. I already let y'all know that with the backfire, they're already getting investigated over there. I could play the story, but it's still a strumming story. They shouldn't even be doing all that. They should just have the facility, waste some more taxpayer dollars over there on a half-built facility just to treat people like animals and put them in cages. That's my opinion of it. And it just looked bad. It put, say if we was ranked in the top 20 out of the 50 states, which is not a bad ranking in the United States if you rate in the top 20. But I think we're a little bit higher. But you probably bumped yourself like 5 rankings below just because you want to send next to someone, or you want to think this is going to help your standings in to win the presidential race. I don't even think that will help you presidentially. But that's not. Yeah, I don't know. I be looking at some of that goofy stuff. Is like super goofy, and So yeah. But let me read these two executive orders. You remember Stacey Abrams is the person that we listened to today. So I'm heavy on politics right now. I'm not going to disrespect my mom or godmothers or people that look up for me to be the man of the family and speak up. At the time that need to be spoken up. So I ain't really sugarcoat nothing no more. So those days are over. If you see me, don't come at me sideways, halfway talking. I'm gonna look at you. I'm gonna entertain it very, very gracefully, but you're gonna be real slow after you leave me talking from me. So you're not gonna get nothing. You better watch the show. That's better I can tell you. Now, and let me read the first one. Expanding the modification of reciprocal tariff rates. Now we talked about these tariffs a lot on my show. I don't really indulge in strawman stories and stunts that they pull into create what we call it, chaos, create a situation where they want to retaliate. These are why they're doing tariffs. They want to arise people and make people mad at them so they can start spending federal money on negative things. They don't want to spend money on positive things. They want to spend it on negative things. They don't want to look like they don't want to look like they're getting short stick by a country or a continent. They want to look like they're in power of everything, which is the stupidest thing. They can't be in power. The world is that big. You're only one person. You only got this many people behind you. I don't get it. So, they want to talk about tariff. Let's read what they have to say. By the authority vested in me and the president by the Constitution and laws of the United States of America, including the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, the National Emergency Act, and the Section 604 Trade Act in 1974, amended Section 301, Title 3, United States Code, I hereby determine and order the background section 1 of this in the Executive Order 14254, April 2nd, 2025, regulation imports with reciprocal tariff to rectify trade practice and the contribution of large and persistent annual United States goods. Constitution usual goods. I found the condition reflected a large and persistent annual U.S. goods trade deficit constitute an unusual and extraordinary threat to national security and economy of the United States that has its source and holds substantial part outside the United States. I declared a national emergency with respect to the threat, and to deal with the threat, I imposed additional ad valorem duties that deemed necessary and appropriate. Section 4C, Executive 14254 provides that. So I'm gonna read the rest of it. It's actually a lot going on here. This is basically a executive order that is basically saying you have these other executive orders are already in place. They're already in law. They already passed through Senate and the judiciary. I guess the judiciary. I don't know if they all passed through the judiciary system. A lot of these stuff is one-sided. So he wants all these executive orders to be in place and to be bar for bar executed in the real world. It's not just gonna be on paper. He wants to see this come to fruition. So he's reiterating expanding the modification of reciprocal tariff rates. So he's talking about everything that has to deal with his tariff that he signed upon on. He wants to see it done. So we're gonna keep reading. In Executive Order 14254 provide that the targeting significant steps remedy non-reciprocal trade agreements and align sufficiency of the United States in the economic national security matters. I may further modify and harmonize tariff schedule of the United States to decrease or limit in scope the duties imposed under this order. In the Executive Order 14266, April 9, 2025, modifying reciprocal tariff rates to reflect trading partner retaliation and alignment. I determined that this is necessary, appropriate, and temporarily suspended for a period of 90 days. So this is one that he did not want to be. I don't know. This is double talk now. So I don't know what kind of. I don't know who be writing this stuff. These people double talk all the time. So I'm gonna continue to read it out. Application and additional ad valorem rate and duties for products of a foreign trading partner listed in Annex to the Executive Order 14254, except and respect the People's Republic and Republic of China, and instead impose the article all such trading partners additional to ad valorem rate and duty of 10% and subject to terms Executive Order 14254 as amended. I made this determination in light of a sincere intention and willingness of these trading partners to address the national and economic security concerns of the United States. This 90-day suspension expires 12:01 a.m. 12:01 a.m. July 9th, 2020, July 9th, 2025. I determined and based the additional information recommendations for various and senior officials, including information and status of discussion for trading partners that it is necessary and appropriate to expand the suspension if effectuated an executive order by Executive Order 14266 into 12:01 Eastern Daylight, August 1st, 2025. With respect to the PRC, the separate tariff suspension effectuated by, I don't even know how it's pronounced. So double talk so much reading this, by the Executive Order 14298, May 12th, 2025, modifying reciprocal tariff rates to reflect discussions with the people of Republic China, and remains in effect and unaltered by this order. Now, There's other sections in these executive orders. I only read the section which is the background, which is the meat of the understanding. This man is saying he wants to cut off this tariff for that tariff and this old tariff to be executed till T, and then I know another tariff is reiterated. So some people might hear double talking confusion. I don't really have to. I don't really like indulging in him talking. I've read the one that we just read, the last one, and that he did in May. We talked about that one on my show. So you want to go back to my May 12th show, which was some powerhouse shows when we come to breaking down these executive orders. I know, and I think some of these was the April ones too. I think some of these were broken down. So I tried my best. No, we started in May, so it might have been some in April now, but I didn't go all the way back. He, like I said, when we just talked about the Stacey Abrams clip of her talking about dismantling, you know, basically undermining the Supreme Court, dismantling the opposition of your republic title of being a Republican president. You dismantle the Democratic side by firing all these people, so you don't have to answer to nobody. You want it, but you got to realize there's still a lot of people to be monitored. And then you call all the you start saying people are terrorists. Then there's like 4 or 5 terrorist groups that you have that are in your camp that you are paying. So it doesn't make it's only going to come out after you leave office because you're the one that's covering up for these people. It don't make sense. You know, you're doing deals on both sides, so you're creating this chaos. So a lot of stuff is confusion to me. A lot of it stuff I lack understanding of what this guy's doing when it comes to organizing properly. So I don't know. Now, yeah, we broke down the executive orders. We talked about the Alcatraz prison, the alligator Alcatraz, which is in the state that I'm born in, raised in, so many times to school wise, coaching wise. So I'm gonna definitely make sure y'all standing on the dumb stuff y'all did, so y'all don't have strong position to even be in power after your 4 years up, and then get this stupid governor out. He needs to leave. He needs to retire. He did all kind of cockamamie stuff to stay in power. He's voodoo. He's voodoo. Whatever he's doing, he ain't even associated with the right side of the history of God with the type of stuff he's trying to do. And yeah, just to stay in position and power. That people do evil and sell out. All these people work. There's no black faces around these people no more. They don't have the backing of the black people. They've done so many costs behind deals with the wrong side. They can't even look us in the eye. They can't do nothing direct. They're improper. They're indirect. They're very weird. So, let's move on, man. I don't have much to say. Today it was definitely heavy on politics. I've been, my spirit of speaking is at a high level, so I don't have time for the small talk per se. I'm finna go enjoy my Friday. I would, the new Superman movie came out today. I'm not really a big Superman fan. Like I might check it. I'm going to check it out, but I think in 2 weeks, it's another movie I seen come out. It's come out. It's the 19th. Then I think it will be the 26th or 25th. The 25th, the movie comes out that I want to see. I just looked it up. But it's July usually has a couple movies that I'm watching, so I'm gonna check out. I'm gonna check out, probably Superman tonight. I'm gonna go see it right after I leave here. If I go see it, I'm being Boynton. I'll go to the bank. Um, enjoy my Friday evening. I'm gonna be back home by 10 and mind my business. I'll probably watch a basic football game. A basketball game, WNBA game. I forgot which is the evening game or baseball game as well. I forgot what WNBA team. I'm not looking it up. I'm not really I'm not. My energy is not football or basketball. It's not. It's not that. I'm not being funny when I say this. Like I'm just happy I'm on the field. I'm not the one watching just from the TV. I never was that type of person. So, I'm happy I'm getting back into it. And people know how I get. Like, I don't stop playing video games. I almost forgot how to play Madden. I definitely don't know how to play 2K yet, and I've been like that since 2007. My homeboys used to spank me in 2K all the time. I had to be on somebody's team. But yeah, you see me on the court. That's what I be on. I used to be on that. I was like, I'm outside. I'm not good at this. I am not like losing. I'll beat you in Madden now. So Madden, NCAA plays the best game. I talked about, I always switch it up when sports, entertainment. I always mention these stuff. But PlayStation 2, that was my favorite council for Madden and NCAA. Like it was so much more detailed. It was like maybe the graphics wasn't that good, but it wasn't horrible. And then it just made me remember something. But um I want before I end this, I know it's probably some of y'all not even gonna watch. I'm not a prejudiced person. And I have to let y'all really understand that I stay in Florida. If I do not speak my mind truthfully, I will get ran over completely. I will be the laughing stock of. I don't care if they laugh at me. They're not laughing at me because I'm not speaking the truth. They're not laughing at me because I'm not standing up for myself. I'm not. People. Have to understand this. Like I'm not dissing what they call white people, because all these people come from different continents and countries. Like you gotta really, I have an understanding of that. They really are tied into some other stuff. Now they ain't completely tied in, but they some of them didn't lose their souls. They didn't sell completely out. If that makes sense. Some of them dated black women, or black men, whichever race whichever sex you are. I've seen both. I've seen both of those. So they might have understood the assignment of being basically a service to us because of the debt that they have of actually their ancestors. You know what I'm saying? Not trying to say that they have to do it, but you actually have to try to be a great person. Like you have once you start doing other stuff, it makes it, or siding with the wrong side. It make like at the end you still gonna get caught. I don't know what you want me to do. I'm gonna speak the truth. So that's basically what's going on right now. People are starting to understand, but I want to make that clear. I want people to approach me properly, because people remember, like when they in my class, like when anybody in my school, I had a situation where I didn't treat somebody properly, but that was like one time, and that was like me being a teenager, like literally one time. And I was way worse in elementary, but I didn't say much about how I didn't speak like this. I didn't. We wasn't at this level. We just had to do what we was told in elementary, and I still outperformed. My only object to show you that you're not better than me is outperform you in sports, in education, and we're very rare that you outperform me in these things. So I didn't feel no way. I was like, oh, my mom was white, right? My teacher was teaching everybody on the same level in all grades. So I definitely outperformed y'all. Yeah, they still was putting me to sleep in like first grade. Like, these are facts. You check them documents, you check them, go look at the principal. Who was their principal at the time? Who was over that school and education system in 94, 95, 96? These people was trying since I was in pre-K to put me to sleep. It was not happening. I was lit. I was that turned. Over time it catches up. You eat. You don't be as active because they want to stop the world or whatever decisions that they make. But hey, that's for here there. This is Dynasty the podcast show. I'm your host, Ira Bush. I will see y'all tomorrow. We are doing the show on Saturday. We are not taking those days off. We have a big show coming up when we get to Washington, D.C. That's all I'm gonna tell you.